I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the deserts bare, man. I breathe the mountain air.
Welcome back to the Stockwell Eldridge Show. I'm Jason Stockwell. Remax results.
I'm Dawn Eldridge, Remax Results.
And I'm Stephanie Havel with Wells Fargo Home Mortgage.
Jason, while you were gone, we need to break you in on a couple things.
Okay.
We started something called chair dancing.
Chair dancing.
Chair dancing.
So we switched chairs.
No, we just dance in our chairs.
Oh.
Casey was very good at it, and
Aromatized.
so is Stephanie, and so we've started that now.
I did a lot of that.
I forgot to tell you.
I did a lot of that on my trip.
I
And when
bet
was
you
driving,
did.
Dancing. Well, works for me sometimes. My knees give out. I'm worried about my knees giving out, so I'm just like, woo, just rock and roll in my chair. And
Did you drink any of the 5-hour energy that I packed for you? Did you get my little care package that I gave Katie?
You had 5-hour energy in there?
3 5-hour energies in there.
I didn't get any
his
of
kids
those.
took them.
Oh, maybe Katie took them.
Or his
I didn't get any
kids.
of
That's why they were bouncing
We
off the
had
walls.
some of the sparkling wine. The kids love that.
Good.
The
non-alcoholic
sparkling
sparkling wine. Let's just specify.
Yeah.
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 They loved it.
Is that how you got them to bed? No, I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
right.
At a young age.
Yeah, they had a blast. They did find a hornet's nest, in a
Ooh.
ground one, in the ground.
Yes.
And they were following. We were at this place called Bearizona.
Oh, cute.
So yeah, it's really cool. They take bears that can no longer live in the wild. They have something wrong with them, or they're captured because they're tame. Basically, they're coming to people's houses, and then they put them in this. I don't know how many acres it is area, and then you drive through with your vehicle, and then you can see the bears, you can see wolves, you can see all kinds of animals. Well, then you can get out at the end and then go look at other animals. And there was a peacock that was running around. They wanted to try to get a feather to see if a feather would fall off. So they're running around off the trail into this little area.
Oh, boy.
I said, okay, guys, you got to go. So they come out of the area, and before Victoria gets out, she screams, "They're biting me, they're biting me." And we're like, what's going on? And she's screaming at the top of her lungs. And so we get her shirt off, and Katie goes, oh, my gosh, they're just covered with bees all over her back, neck, and her hair. She has long blonde hair, and then Asher, about a minute later, we thought he didn't get any, starts wailing and ripping his clothes off in the middle of this area, and the people must have been like, what is going on, And
Oh, my goodness. Are they
So,
okay?
yeah,
Hopefully,
they were
obviously,
fine.
neither one of them are allergic, right?
No, we that's a good test. They were not. They got multiple stings, and they weren't.
Oh.
And those
uh,
are usually yellow jackets or black jackets, by the way.
So we gave them a little bit of Benadryl, and then they were fine after that.
Yeah.
Oh, my
They,
goodness. Well,
But anyway,
again,
that was fun.
good life experience. Sometimes you get stung. You're going out for fun and
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
that's
get
right.
stung.
That's right.
Um,
So before we took the break, we were talking about how important it is to have an agent that will meet the appraiser at the house and supply comps and talk about the different nuances of the house. So for sellers, highly encourage asking any agent that you're interviewing, or just call us because we do that, what do they do with appraisers? Because the banks have no control of the appraisers. We don't control them either, but it's always helpful because the appraiser may not be familiar with the area.
Correct.
And they don't know the specifics of the house, so it's important for them to know what you've replaced, what
right,
you've
if it's
updated.
yeah, that's what I was saying. You want to avoid what we call undue influence, and that's where the appraisers, or excuse me, maybe a real estate agent or even the seller perhaps is trying to sway that appraiser's opinion or imply. And we've seen that happen sometimes. And I don't think it's always
be helpful to the appraiser. But
right. Yeah. So I don't always think it's intent. They're trying to do something manipulative. I think sometimes that's the case, but most often it's not. So you do want to be cautious as to, what you're providing to the appraiser. But absolutely, if you have a new roof, or whatever those upgrades were.
Furnaces, windows.
Yeah, appliances, anything like that. That's going to be helpful for them because, like I said, we all have to. It takes a village to get these homes
Yes,
sold
it
these
does.
days.
And the other thing that you can help appraisers out with is they'll just look at the MLS and they don't have a full story of maybe what happened. So you could say, well, here's our days on market, or here's what happened. Oh, we had this many offers at this particular price point, to show that actually the market was speaking. The market, meaning the buyer
Right.
community at that time, was speaking, and that's the market for the property. Or there's only been 3 sales in the last year in this particular area because people just don't move as much. It's not a high turnover area.
Right.
Here's why, and all that stuff. I mean, you can give them some data. But one thing, Dawn, you said earlier, So if you were to draw a line from the time before you start to sell your home to the time your home closes as a seller, you could basically draw a line, and then those little squiggly graph lines where they have the bell curve. Mm-hmm. Could probably do like 5 of those bell curves in a row over a timeline, start to finish, and all those are your hurdles. And some of them are going to be big hurdles, and some of them are going to be small hurdles. And the problem is you won't know necessarily you have a hurdle until you're in it, in that moment.
Yep.
And a lot of times the stuff that we can do as an agent to help out, you won't even feel that hurdle, so you don't even know it was a problem. But sometimes sometimes it's stuff out of your control where you're going to have a massive hurdle and you can't control it, But
Well, and oftentimes based, our experience level. I mean, I've been in mortgages for 20 years. You guys, how long have you been in the business, Dawn?
13 years.
And Jason?
Since 2004.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, so almost, what is that? Almost 10 years, 20 years, 10 years, 12 years.
In between 10 and 20.
can't count.
We'll keep
12,
it simple.
yeah.
No, 12.
I'm confused. Okay, 'cause I'm starting to think
2003 was the end of 2003, but I officially started with RE/MAX in 04.
Yeah,
so
so
that's
I'm
why
just
I
like
said 04.
experience and knowledge. I mean, we have been through. I mean, there's so many things. But to this day, there's still some things that come up. I'm like, oh, who would have seen that coming? So that's why I think, again, why it's important to have an experienced agent or experienced loan officer or a company that that you can trust. Because, you're going to have those peaks and valleys, and you need somebody that's going to be patient and help you weather through those storms.
So what got you into the business? I'm going to interview you now.
Oh,
Stephanie.
okay. What got me into the mortgage business?
Yeah.
Kind of funny because I always tell people, like in 5th grade, I went to a private school, so they don't really flunk you out. But in 5th grade, I didn't do very well at math, and so I went to summer school for math. And my parents were like, "What? You want to go to summer school?" I'm like, "Yeah, I just really want to be able to understand math better. I'm struggling." And I remember being in school with all the public school kids who actually failed and had to be there. And they're like, "Why would you want to go to school?" So anyway, so I think at least I did have some passion for numbers and finance. Although I still, as I just demonstrated earlier, I'm not very good at it. But
That's what a calculator's for.
yeah, it was kind of a fluke actually. I was going to be moving to Las Vegas. I was going to get married and move to Las Vegas, and so I took a job with a temp agency because I had quit my job, and so I was just in the meantime I wanted to work before I was going to move, and I got hired at a mortgage company as just a temp. They were so extremely busy. It was back in the late 90s. The phones were ringing off the hook because it was the first time rates had actually dropped down to around 6.875. People were at 9-10%.
Wow.
And so I just took a job and I was just answering phones and trying to take messages and help get them to a loan officer. And again, no really experience. I'd always just been in sales and education my whole life. And the owner of the manager of the department said, "You're way too good at this to be a receptionist." He's like, "I'm hearing you on the phone and your sales skills." He's like, "You really should learn to be a loan officer." I'm like, "Yeah, well, that's great, but no thanks. I'm moving to Las Vegas and I'm going to get married." Well, that didn't work out. So I went back to that manager and said, "You said I'd be good at this. Can I still have my job? Can I get hired permanently here instead of a temp?" And so that's how my story began. And so I've been in it for 20 years, and I absolutely love it. I've been with Wells Fargo for 6 years.
And I was going to ask how long you were with
Yeah,
Wells,
and I just, I was with other companies, and back in the day, things were changing a lot in the mortgage industry, and who could hold a mortgage license, things, the market was going to, heck in a hen basket, and so it was really hard to find a company, and I just went to the mothership. Wells Fargo's the #1 lender in the nation, and I just thought, that's a place where I need to be. I'm not going to have to worry about compliance or ethical things, or, if I'm still learning, I want a company that knows what they're doing and gets it done right.
Do they have a lot of training for their lenders?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I always tell people, we're always hiring. If you have an interest in the mortgage industry, absolutely give me a call because it's a great opportunity. There's so many opportunities within the industry itself. And it really is a sales position. You have to determine why would you want to work with Wells Fargo versus, U.S. Bank or Prime Lending or Bell Mortgage or whoever, So I can teach you the mortgage stuff all day long. We have absolutely great training programs. As a manager, that's my job, is to help train and support my employees. And so I love doing it. So, and, working with and helping people. I mean, what a difference. Every time I, do a loan, like refinance or purchase, I feel like I'm making a difference in somebody's life. I help somebody. I just get a kick out of it when my customers call me and say, oh yeah, you helped us with our first purchase, and now we're buying our next move up home. Can you help us again? And that's such a rewarding experience. So yeah, I really like it.
That's nice. So, the company that you started with, are they even in business anymore?
No.
See, and I think that's huge too, if you ever think of becoming a lender, being with a company that's been around a long time like Wells Fargo,
Right.
I think is key, because I've seen a lot of places come and go in the lending industry as well. And it's
Right. And the company
lot.
holds us to a very high standard as far as, compliance training. We have to have all of ours done and recorded. But it's great. It just helps us really understand the job and how we can best benefit our customers, and just making sure we're always doing what's right.
That's good. That's cool.
Yeah,
I
thanks
love
for
that.
asking. Yeah, so I was here, I'll give you my phone number. It's 612-940-7335. And if you have any questions about as far as employment in the mortgage industry, absolutely. I mean, we've got salespeople, loan officers. We've also have our production staff, processing, underwriting, closing, shipping, funding, you name it. There's about 10 different divisions that you could work in.
So there's in-house underwriting then, obviously, with
Yep,
Wells Fargo.
everything. Yep,
That's
you
good.
drive down
'Cause some
35W,
places
you see
ship
the
out,
Wells Fargo
and then it
mortgage
takes
campus.
longer.
And
So
yes, everything. When you call our 1-800 number, you're talking to somebody who's either in Des Moines, Iowa, Tempe, Arizona, or Minneapolis. So all of our phone operators are local U.S. people.
good.
So you're not
Cool.
calling across the country. So
Awesome.
yeah, you can check out my website too at stephaniehavel.com. And Wells Fargo Mortgage. And yeah, we have banks in all 50 states. So if you're listening, online, out of state, or you want to work in Wisconsin or Arizona, you want to move to
Yeah.
Arizona, Jason, sure, I'll be your winter lender
In Arizona.
in
I love it.
Arizona. Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
gonna have to go back this winter to golf, because I only got to golf a little bit, one round. But
Yeah,
it's-
we do a
it's
lot
nice
of
down
second
there.
home financing for our clients in Arizona, absolutely, and Florida.
Pressure.